30 years ago, the top-selling cars in Australia were the Ford Falcon and the Holden Commodore. They were unsophisticated gas guzzlers with a V6 or a V8 underneath the hood that did a great job of moving Aussie families around the country with all their gear. And now this is the best-selling car in the country. It's the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid. It's packed full of technology, uses next to no fuel, and Toyota sells around 5,000 of these a month, which in the middle of a pandemic is not bad. Prices on the RAV4 start at $36,000, and for the all-wheel drive hybrid cruiser in this review, you're looking at just over $51,000. It's been about 25 years since the RAV4 first appeared in the Australian market as a slightly tinny-looking competitor to the Suzuki Vitara, and it's grown up a lot since then too. It's still technically a compact, but realistically it's more like a mid-sizer. Its smaller sibling, the CHR, is a celebration of curves, whereas the RAV4 loves straight lines, angles and geometric shapes, and I think it looks really good in this dark blue as well, and of course the black 18-inch alloys. The cool angular design continues on the inside as well, with nice leather seats. We've got 10-way electric adjustment for the driver. Both the front seats are heated. Soft touch materials up here on the dash with some more stitching. I love the feeling of the gear shifter here. It's got a great solid feel to it. A nice leather steering wheel. The seating position's great. It's a commanding position, so I can almost see right to the edges of the bonnet. Great visibility out the back as well, and the rear vision mirrors are just huge. Up on top here is the 8-inch center console screen. It's a pretty standard Toyota unit with slightly low resolution graphics, especially from the reversing camera. The built-in navigation system did get me a little bit lost the other day. I was trying to get somewhere, I was running late for a meeting, and it was insisting that I get off the motorway, despite me knowing that the motorway was the fastest way to get there. I had to use Apple CarPlay's maps to get me back on track. I got there in the end, everything's okay. Also on the center console screen, you can get all sorts of information about how green your driving is, where the energy from the car is going from the engine to the battery to the electric motor. It's fascinating to look at, but can be a little bit distracting. Also run through the center console screen is the 9-speaker JBL sound system, which I have to say is one of the best I've heard in this price range for this class. It is really good. Big subwoofer in the boot, and it makes a great noise. There's also cordless phone charging, but no wireless Apple CarPlay, which means you'll need a cable to use it. Climbing in the back seat. Well, this is pretty good. I've got plenty of knee room behind my own seating position. I'm 190 centimeters tall. Plenty of headroom. This is good, I like it. We've got two 2.1 amp USB chargers back here. We've got a couple of air vents. Not quite as wide as I'd like it to be for 3 adults, but I think we could probably squash in. Perfect for the kids, of course. Leather seats. We've got a couple of ISOFIX points here for a baby seat and armrest with a couple of cup holders. All up, pretty good. Just as a word of warning, the RAV4 likes to beep a lot. There's beeps inside the cabin. There's beeps whenever you open up the powered rear tailgate here. It sounds like the car's reversing when it's not. And it very slowly opens to reveal the 580-litre boot, which of course you can make bigger with the 60/40 folding split seats at the back there. And you can make the space even bigger by taking out the rear floor and exposing the Space Saver spare tyre and actually sliding this to a lower level. And you've just bought yourself a few more litres of space. The 2.5-litre naturally aspirated petrol engine, together with the electric motor, outputs 183 kilowatts of power and 221 newton meters of torque, for a combined fuel economy of 4.8 litres per 100 kilometres. I've been getting around about 6, which is still pretty good. Toyota have gotten really good at hybrids over the last couple of decades, so much so that it's almost impossible to tell when the petrol engine kicks in and takes over from the electric. In fact, it doesn't take over from the electric, it joins the party, because both engines run at the same time to propel you along. The only time you really hear from the petrol engine is when we're going up hills, and then it kicks in surprisingly a little bit noisy. When I first heard it, I actually thought, is that a diesel? But no, it's a regular petrol engine. So with this hybrid system, you're really not sacrificing performance for the sake of fantastic fuel economy. You've got all of the regular performance of a 2.5-litre naturally aspirated petrol engine with an electric motor to help it along and increase efficiency. So much so that on a full tank of petrol, you'll get over 800 kilometres of range. Like all Toyotas, the steering is great. It's direct, you've got plenty of feedback, it's nicely weighted, and the ride's very comfortable too. The suspension is right where it feels like it should be. Only the deepest potholes seem to upset the ride, and it's not so soft that you can't feel anything, but there's none of that wobbly feel that you get in some SUVs. The RAV4 comes with Toyota Safety Sense, which includes lane departure alert, pre-collision assist with pedestrian and cyclist detection, road sign recognition and radar cruise control, plus 7 airbags, blind spot monitoring and rear cross traffic alert. All of that comes standard across the range. One thing that Toyota and a lot of car makers have been doing of late, of course, is making their hybrids look like regular cars. When the Prius first appeared, it wasn't really that attractive. You were kind of telling the world, look how green I am, look how efficient my car is. Now, outwardly, apart from some hybrid badging on the outside, you would never know that this was any different to the regular version of the RAV4. And I kind of like that. Toyota's build quality is legendary, of course, and it's no different here. I mean, my first car was a Toyota Starlet over 20 years ago. Yeah, I'm a little bit embarrassed to say that, but it's still running around town. I saw it the other day. The panels look a little bit worse for wear. It's probably had 3 or 4 owners since I had it. But mechanically, I'm sure it's still going strong, and I have no doubt that this very car, which has been thrashed around by journalists as a demonstrator, will probably still be going in 20 years as well. Everything feels so solid and so well put together. So all up, it's not hard to see why this is Australia's favourite car. It's keenly priced, has great technology, terrific fuel economy, and has all the practicality you need to get your family and their gear around town.